I feel like it's really important now more than ever to talk about what a fallacy the pursuit of happiness is. Uh, and it's not to say that the intentions behind it are wrong, but to pursue happiness means we're continually setting ourselves up for failure because it's not possible to be happy 100% of the time. So, what do we do instead? We can seek joy and contentment and seek joy in the little moments rather than expecting to feel it forever and ever and to feel it again 100% of the time. When we seek joy and we seek joyful moments, we actually uplift ourselves and our energy. So I know I have spoken a lot about self-inquiry, and I know that a lot of people are talking a lot about self-inquiry at the moment as well, with the whole COVID thing going on, with everyone globally being in some form of isolation or quarantine. And yes, self-inquiry is really, really important. However, there is an element where it can keep us feeling heavy, especially when we feel like there are things that are affecting us, whether it's pandemic related or not. If we are healing our hearts in some way, sometimes what we need is a shift in energy. So I have today a list of 5 things that I put together that I find help me shift that energy, especially if I'm stuck in the same feeling. And it may be healing, yes, over time, but sometimes you get to a point where you just need to step out of it. That helps you step away from it, away from the heaviness and away from what keeps you feeling a little bit stuck or caught up in something, or remembering something that isn't necessary to be thinking about anymore. So number 1 is allow yourself to laugh. So I don't mean force yourself to laugh, though there are suggestions around what happens in our brains when we do start fake laughing and then it becomes real laughter. But I actually mean allow yourself to laugh. So sometimes when we are feeling a certain way, we feel like we shouldn't be laughing, or we feel like if we are laughing then it means we mustn't be feeling how we're feeling, and we get confused about how to acknowledge what feelings we're experiencing. If we're feeling really horrible and maybe heartbroken or something, but then we're laughing at something else, it can create this cognitive dissonance of, well, how am I laughing and then still explain that I'm still feeling affected by this, especially when it comes to sharing with friends how we're feeling as well. So one really important thing is just to allow yourself moments of laughter, because eventually it becomes easier, and it's just a practice of we're allowed to laugh but still be feeling if we're feeling horrible, still be feeling what we're feeling as well. And much like things like grief, it will ebb and flow. And that's the natural part of the healing and the life and everything in that. So give yourself permission to laugh. Number 2 is do something different to lighten the mood. So there's a whole bunch of potential things that could be depending on the circumstance, but understanding, especially when we're still in a general state of isolation at the moment, that we may be doing the same things and they may still be healthy for us. We may be in a routine with working out. We may still be getting along with the people we live with, and that is amazing. But sometimes we may just need to do something different to lighten our mood. So it could be catching up with a different friend. If you can't see them in person, do it over video call and make it a fun thing. You could have like a dinner party thing over Zoom or Skype or whatever you use, FaceTime, or you could watch a movie together. I've spoken about these solutions around how to connect with people virtually. You could watch a movie together and press play at the same time and have this running commentary between you, and that can be something different. Make it something different, and often just by default that helps to lighten the mood. And I say catch up with another friend because I think there is an element of self-reflection that means we do isolate when we introspect and everything, and that is really, really healthy. But it was something that I was aware of even pre-COVID, that sometimes it gets a little too heavy and we forget what we're actually living for, or what we're living to experience, because we're not experiencing life because we're so busy reflecting. So do something different to lighten the mood. And that can involve a different friend to normal, or that you haven't seen in a while or connected with in a while, especially one that you know. Try to choose one that you know is really easy just to connect with. You don't need to go into all the story of what's been happening. You can just be present with. And that makes a huge difference. I can guarantee that it does. Through experience, I can guarantee that. Number 3 is flirt with life. So be playful, wonder at the moon, do happy dances when you have good food right in front of you, and let your body just move rather than not. Flirt with life and actually be playful with life. You know, if you have pets, if you have dogs, go outside and play with them, and instead of doing it begrudgingly, actually step into the moment and try to get them excited, because that action helps you become more excited. All of these things. I'm a big fan of happy dances, and lately, and the more relaxed I am, admittedly, or the less stressed I am, the more that they just happen, and I let them happen, and it feels just really good to show my appreciation for good food, because that's just one of my love languages, is food. It feels really good to just let that be expressed in a way beyond polite verbal signals of this is great, thank you. So flirt with life in different ways, and be playful. Even if you don't feel like it, find an outlet that can help you. So again, the dog example, or something like it if you don't like dogs or have access to dogs, is something else. What helps you, like trying to excite other things or other people in that way with enthusiasm, can then build that more in you. Number 4 is, where you can, nap when you're in a bad mood. There is a really powerful reset that napping does for us, especially when we're in a funky mood or a bad mood or a weird mood, or if we're stuck on one train of thought and it's distracting us, and if we have tried everything else that we can think of to get out of it and it's just not working, nap. Take a time out. Put yourself in a timeout, and usually set the timer for a 20-minute nap can help to just shift it. And it doesn't mean you have to feel fabulous and joyful after, but it just addresses it when we, as humans, because we will, just feel a little funky sometimes. Naps. Always naps. And number 5 is really important. It's following through on the promises you make yourself. So if you make yourself a promise that you're going to get up in the morning at a certain time to do that yoga class or that workout session, follow through on it, because it just creates that feeling within you of knowing that you can rely on yourself. And sometimes when you're feeling funky, it's exactly what you need. And that feeling of stability and being able to rely on yourself is what joy and contentment is built upon. So hopefully these help you. It's definitely not an exhaustive list, but it just felt like the right list for right now, to help you step away from the pursuit of happiness, especially when things do feel funky or isolating or just heavy. And I know that feeling very, very well, and help you just find different ways that you can step more into allowing the little moments of joy, because they are really, really important.